members of the Justine Dream Team. This is the sort of more positive note in comparison to last week's video, which was things I regretted doing as a beginner equestrian, and now this is things that I was super glad I did, especially now being a professional equestrian. I think these really set me on my track there. So let's get started with the video. Number one, watching anyone and everyone ride. I would get my eyes on anyone I could, especially being at like shows. I was a very visual learner, so watching somebody and watching how they go around really helped me learn and just experience and see different training styles, as well as I'd be riding around in a ring and maybe I'd think, oh, I really liked that 2-point of the equitation rider I was watching at the show last weekend. And then it would help me to mimic that and kind of feel how I wanted my body to be shaped based on top successful riders or just people in my area. If you're getting your eyes on other people, especially those that are more experienced, it can definitely help you learn how to ride better. I really think there's value in every single ride you see. 2. Reading a lot of books. I would beeline my way to the horse section at Barnes & Noble's anytime I went, which I found myself going very frequently as a kid because of all the horse books. My neighbors would give me whatever horse books they found because they knew I was the neighborhood crazy horse girl, and I was so interested. There is a wealth of knowledge out there in the world. Definitely go out and seek it. There is so much to learn. Even if it's not about riding and getting better at physically riding, there is so much you can learn to be a good horse person. Veterinary things, horse care, horse breeds, training methods, the various kinds, what different tack does, how it works. You might find good and bad things, and the only way to kind of filter out what you think is good and become more educated is to take in more knowledge. So always do your research, read, just find out things. If you love horses, you're gonna love reading about it, right? Hopefully. I know there's an abundance of YouTube videos and YouTube tutorials and how-tos and training guides, and you know, I've made them myself, but don't let that be your only source of information, okay? Go back to the standards like what your mom's mom was reading. Pick up one of those books and see how they did it back in the day, and compare it to what we do now. Because although humans may have changed, horses haven't. So you have a huge range of knowledge that you can apply to your horses and your horse life and career. 3, doing a good working student position. Now, working student positions were on my last video as a negative, but they're also on this video as a positive, because as I mentioned, there are good and bad ones. I explained my really terrible working student position and what to avoid in my last video, but now we're gonna bounce off of that and talk about what I really liked in one of my working student positions. So coming off of my bad one, I went to a barn and actually became an exercise rider, and we didn't really clarify this, but it was less like a working student position in the sense that I didn't have to like muck stalls or anything. I really just showed up, rode whatever horse they needed to be ridden because they had a ton of horses, but then went home. I didn't really do any physical like barn chores. Now this was a dream position because I was actually in between horses at this time, and getting to ride so many different types of horses was so good. I rode about a different horse every single day, and I was there for like a year or more. Like, they had a lot of horses and they always had horses coming in and out. So I rode really good, really experienced show horses and like backyard ponies. And there was a huge range of rides that I got to experience and got to figure out and learn how to ride different horses. And that's what really gave me the confidence to kind of just jump on whatever horse is thrown at me and know that I have so many tools in my toolbox to be able to handle it, and confidence in the saddle to really ride whatever is under me. So there is so many different types of horses. Get on as many as you can, and that'll benefit you in the long run for sure. Number 4, I always made it a point to really have a relationship with my trainers. There is so much knowledge you can gain from them in the downtime that you spend with them, or the the quiet moments at the barn. I would always try and like stick by their side and be like their little assistant. So I would go to a lot of vet checks. I would do a lot of interesting horse care and stuff. There is so much behind the scenes and so much knowledge that you can pick your trainer's brain about. Number 5, being at the barn even if I didn't have a lesson, or maybe before my lesson and after my lesson, I would just stay there for longer periods of time. There is so much that happens at a barn if you just go rather than just showing up, riding, and going home. Already in one day you're gonna learn something, I promise. Becoming a good horse person is knowing how a barn works. It's not just showing up and riding, because that's just not realistic, especially if you want to own your own horse or want to take care of your own horse one day, or maybe become a barn owner. You got to start with learning how it works and what barn owners have to do all the time on a daily basis, or these fluke things that come up. There's been many times that I've been at the barn and just like some fluke things come up, and they're good learning experiences. I remember this one time, this dog was at the barn, and it was a stray dog, and it actually attacked one of the horses, and it was really bleeding, and it was definitely a vet like situation. But I really got to see how my trainers reacted to that, and it wasn't like, oh my god, oh, he's bleeding, like, oh, he's got attacked. Like, it was, okay, we know what to do. Here's our first aid. This is what we do. These are the steps, and we're gonna call the vet, and we're gonna get him fixed up. And that is something you can only learn from experience, how to keep a calm head in that. If I saw my horse get bit and it was oozing Kool-Aid, I would be really upset. So learning how to handle situations like that is only done through being at the barn. Number 6, watching my trainer teach other people or ride themselves. So if you're working with a specific trainer and they're maybe telling you how to do something, and then you maybe aren't really getting it, or you adjust a little bit and they're like, yeah, good job, and you're like, I have no idea what I did. That's a very common situation. Do not fret, okay? Something that could be really helpful is watching them teach somebody else, and maybe they're gonna mention that thing and you'll be able to watch it from an outside perspective and on the ground and see a rider maybe make that adjustment or learn how to make that adjustment. And it's very helpful, especially if you're a visual learner, to see it on somebody else. This is also really helpful if it's something you can't even see from the saddle. So maybe you're like, see how the horse's back feet aren't moving but the front feet are, and it's turning in the circle? That's something you can't see when you're on a horse. You can only feel it. So getting your eyes on that and being like, oh yeah, that's what she meant, okay. As well as just watching how your trainer rides, because your trainer is trying to get you to their level. Your trainer is teaching you what they know, how to ride like them. So seeing how they ride, seeing how they work with horses, seeing how they respond to situations, that's gonna be helpful. All right, that is everything that I was really glad I did and think really jump-started me towards the career of a professional equestrian, which I am so blessed and grateful to be able to still partake in today. If you have been following me for a while, yes, I did have to sell my horse, but I still ride, okay? I may be in college and can't upload that much, but I very much am still involved with horses. I joined the equestrian team, I became a riding instructor, I take clinics, I do anything I can to get out there. So if you like this video and you haven't seen last week's video, things I regret and things you should not do, keep an eye out for these major red flags. Go ahead and check that out. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another upload, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Join me next time. Go out there and dream, believe, achieve. Bye! Goodbye. Something I just discovered like 2 days ago, which I think is really cool, is if you click out of this video, so like minimize it, where you can see like recommended videos, and you can see my channel below, right? Watch the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. If you are subscribed, I guess it just says subscribe. It might be doing it right now, but if I say subscribe, it should be glowing like rainbow. If it doesn't, that's gonna be mad embarrassing. But hopefully it does, so I'm not just like going on this whole rant. But I thought it was really cool. I was like, did it recognize that she said the word subscribe? And it lit up. Anyways, those are the things I find interesting. Okay, have a good day. You should go ahead and click the button while you're down there.